people ask me how old I am, they say, when they guess my age, they say, oh, you're about 70. I said, well, how nice. I wish I were. Well, I feel like I don't know how 97 person feels because I've never been 97 before. So I just feel fine. I feel the same when I was in my 80s. I'm Lily Cabansag. I was born in the Philippines, in a small town of Calibo, in the island of Panay. I have 2 brothers, and I'm the oldest. My mother and father were baptized to the Adventist church when I was only 3 months old. So I grew up as an Adventist. My father was a mission evangelist, and we traveled. Wherever he was sent to preach. In the meantime, I was a senior in the academy when the war broke out. And then after the MacArthur came back and I was at peace again in the Philippines, the conference wanted to open church schools. So they called all the seniors from all the academies if they want to teach. And I was called, so I taught without having any teaching experience. I taught. I taught church school for 2 years, and then every summer they sent us to Philippine Union College to upgrade. So I wanted to be a nurse, but then the sanitarium was bombed, so they were still rebuilding it, that is where the nursing school was. So instead of going to nursing, I went to education, to teaching. And my brother was one of the signal corps of the Philippine Army. So I was just by myself, and I had to go out and buy and sell rice and other goods, whatever, carrying our stuff on our head, like they do in the Philippines. Well, I lost my mother when I was 11, and my dad, even before my mother died, my dad used to do the major cooking in the house. So I just learned from experience, observing other people. I didn't go to cooking class or cooking school. We didn't have that in the Philippines. I enjoy most being with my family and cooking for them. Well, I don't usually follow a recipe. I just whatever is in my head. In the Philippines, people eat a lot of pork, a lot of meat, mostly fish and vegetables. My husband was a doctor, so he came over on a scholarship, Fulbright scholarship, and I was still teaching at Philippine Union College then. So I followed him following year, 1955. My oldest daughter, Nellie, was only 2.5. And we came over on a ship. I wasn't thinking about teaching a cooking class then. I had to cook for my family, of course. And then when we were years and years, a long story short, we were in Santa Ana, Texas, and we had a hospital and nursing home. And we had several employees, 70 employees. And so I see that some of them were suffering health-wise because they're overweight. I said, so I should have a weight control class. So I did that, and that involved teaching them how to eat properly. And so we had cooking classes, and then we invited the community, and that started the cooking class. They lost weight, and they their health was better. They didn't go to the doctor as much. People ask how to cook this, so I would suggest a recipe for that, or wherever you get your meat. If you don't eat meat, where are you going to get your protein and all that stuff? So we transitioned to making gluten dishes, so they could have a feel of what we eat that feels or tastes like meat or has a texture of meat. Well, the gluten is the protein part of the wheat, and it usually comes in powder form, gluten flour. And if you mix that with water and your seasoning, then boil it or bake it, then it has a texture of meat, because it will take in the flavor that you put in it, like chicken or beef or ham, whatever. I do my classes only because of scarcity of help, just once a month. And then we emphasize the fact that the disadvantages of eating meat diet, regular meat diet, and the advantages of plant-based diet, which is more healthy because of the absence of diseases that are in the animals and other toxins that are in the animal food. So just like a friend of mine said, her grandson came to visit them, and of course he always served meat, and said he was requested to ask the blessing for the food. And he said, he thanked Jesus for the food, and then he said, and please ask Grandma not to serve dead animals every time we come. So you can just imagine that if you are eating the meat, you are eating dead animals, which is gross. But people get used to what they are brought up. But if they learn better, then they'll eat better and have better health. It's cheaper to get your vitamins from the grocery store than go to the pharmacy and get because vitamins pills are expensive. And when you eat the plant-based diet, you don't take in all the toxins that you would get from eating meat or milk or eggs. And your body can assimilate better all the nutrients that plant-based diet offers. Plant-based diet is easier to digest. If you want to lose weight, you can eat as much as you can and not gain that much weight because of the saturated fat that's in the meat. We just follow the 8 rules of health. You eat better, and like I said, just keep breathing. Air is free, so God gives you the air. I was thinking, if God has kept me on this earth this long, I need to be doing what He wants me to do. So that's what I'm impressed to do. I do the cooking class. Well, people don't go to plant-based diet because they are scared. They are not going to get enough because they think being a vegan, you just eat carrots and celery and grass. But when they start eating the food that you cook, said, oh, this is yummy, this doesn't. Well, they think that it's just a bland diet, doesn't taste like meat. If you are inclined to try a vegan diet, just try it. Don't be afraid, because that's the only way you learn. Because our palates can be educated. You might not like okra the first time, but if you keep eating it, you'll love your okra. Well, proper nutrition, well, if they have an acronym for that. You start nutrition, exercise, water, sunshine, temperance, air, and rest, which is my downfall because I don't rest enough, and trust in God. So that's very hard to rest because I just keep moving. In my sleep, I do recipes.